taking off the mask changed her race.
Hey there, こんにちは、アーサーです。レッスン上達においてシャドーイングや書き出しをとても重要ですね。ただ、映画だと日英どっちかの字幕しかつけられないし、スクールでは練習用の定型文が多くなるしとなかなかいい教材がありません。そこでこのチャンネルでは日英同時字幕付きでネイティブ同士の生の英会話をお届けしています。で、今日のテーマはですね、日本とアメリカのマスク事情についてですね。なぜか外国人ってマスクを嫌がるイメージがありませんか？実はアメリカでは少し前まではマスクをつけると逆に問題に巻き込まれてしまう可能性がありました。そこで今回の動画では以前こちらの日本とアメリカの絵文字の違いで紹介した内容にも触れながら日本とアメリカのマスク事情やコミュニケーション事情について話してみました。勉強用に用意された会話ではなく僕と友達のオースティン2人のアメリカ人により本当に生の英会話になるのでリスニング力向上に役に立つはずですね。また、この動画の字幕なしバージョンは The Austin and Arthur Show という別のチャンネルで公開しています。何度も繰り返してワンランク上のレベルに挑戦したいと思った方はぜひチャレンジしてみてください。それでは、Let's get started!
Cheers!
Oh yeah, Uragasumi does not disappoint. I got Karakuchi because you like it, but I still like Uragasumi.
It's good.
It's good.
It's
I played it up, so now you can't say anything bad about it.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't really have anything bad to say. It's simple.
Yeah.
I like it. It's just a clean taste.
Yeah. Normally, like the other Karakuchi have like too much of a bite for me.
Yeah.
I like this one.
Yeah.
These are my people. But anyways, so we're going to be talking about a topic, which is how Americans or non-Asian people think Japanese people look when they wear their masks, how they feel about face masks.
Okay, so yeah, like just going into face this thing, I don't know, it's like drooping down.
Your presence is too powerful. It needs to bow down to you.
Bow to me, Mike. But yeah, so I want to start off like my first experience seeing like just a person in public wearing a mask, because you never see this in the US.
Yeah.
Never. In fact, most places, I would say, like pre-COVID, most places you would not be allowed to enter the building if you're wearing a mask. Because it's like the idea is like, what are you trying to hide?
Yeah, right.
You know, are you trying to rob us? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
So I remember when I was in high school, 20 years ago now.
Yeah, you old fart.
What?
Yeah.
It's weird to say that. I don't want to say that.
I know.
Like, I'm going to go off on a small tangent before I continue the story, but like, when was the 80s?
The 80s was 40 years ago,
Dude,
man.
What the fuck? No, it's 20 years ago, man. 20 years ago.
It will be 20 years ago forever for me.
Dude, right?
But it is, yeah.
Yeah,
it's so funny when I'm like, oh, the 70s were like 30 years. No, what? People are 50 years old.
No, like Vietnam vets are like dying off of old age now.
It's
like, what is going on? Oh, it's such an uncomfortable truth.
But you know, now I now finally understand how my parents are feeling because I'm getting to the age, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Anyways, so going back to my story, so I came here 20 years ago as an exchange student, and like back then, like people in Japan still wore masks. They were nowhere near as common as today, but you still saw them.
Yeah.
And I remember like my first experience, I got on the subway in Osaka, and there was this woman wearing a mask, and I just remember like turning to my friend and being like, whoa, look at the surgeon on her way to work.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like thinking they look so ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's like a really common opinion.
Well, you know, the first time that I ever saw someone wearing those face masks outside was on the Ave at UW, you know, University Way, because it was a Japanese student who was probably an exchange student with their friend, and the two of them were wearing face masks.
Yeah.
And I remember they walked past me, and I was just looked at them like, what did I just see? Is this like a biohazard? Are zombies going to come out somewhere? Like, is there a viral outbreak? You know?
Yeah.
It was so weird for me, you know? But then when I came to Japan and then I saw everybody was wearing masks, people do wear masks more now than they did when I first got here 10 years ago.
For sure.
But still, it's like I've gotten used to it now.
Yeah, I have too. It's just I've gotten used to it, but it still feels weird to me. Like, you know, there was a girl who graduated from my high school last year. Well, actually last month, but last school year.
Yeah.
She graduated from my high school, and I have taught her for 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
She never once came to school without a mask on.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember, you know, watching their class graduate last year, and obviously no one was wearing a mask during graduation because the parents want to take photos and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so everyone's standing up, and, you know, finally, like, they call her name, and she's going to receive her diploma, and I'm like,
who is that?
What the hell is this?
Yeah.
And, like, the thing that really surprised me is I found out she was half.
Yeah. Right. You didn't know that from her just wearing the mask.
Right. It's like taking off the mask changed her race. And it was just like, what? This is what you look like?
Yeah.
Like, I was just so blown away. I was like, I can't believe.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like that's a real thing. It's like when you see people here wearing masks, it's like you don't know what they look like.
Yeah.
And, you know, I guess maybe Japanese people don't think about that, but Americans do.
Yeah. So let's talk about how Americans find face masks, and if ever, do people wear face masks, and what the mindset is about that.
So I think prior to COVID, nobody in America outside of doctors wore face masks.
Yeah, right. Like it was delegated to hospitals. Like you'd see it in hospitals, never outside.
It's like, so if as an American, if you see somebody wearing a mask, you kind of assume they're like medical staff.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, then COVID hit, and even then I would still say most Americans are like, nah, I'm not doing a mask.
Yeah. Well,
like,
here's the thing that was funny, because masks in America became a sign of oppression.
They did.
Like the government oppression.
They did. They absolutely did.
So now because sometimes I see people wearing these masks in the States.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, oh, look at that sheep just following the crowd. He's just following the government.
Or kind of more on the opposite side, they kind of fueled a culture war between people who, I mean, we don't have to get in too much about this, but, like, you know, right around that same time, there was like the whole like racial wars going on. I would say in America, like with racial, you know, George Floyd and everything. And so, like, there was an association with people who didn't wear masks, right? It's like, oh, okay, you're just some selfish hillbilly. You're some stupid racist, so you're not wearing a mask. Right. And so it's like there was kind of like pushing on both sides, right? There was like the anti-government crowd, and there was like the social crowd. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to describe it.
Basically, it was anti-establishment and pro-establishment, pretty much.
Yeah, right? And so it's like it became a real big contention point. Yeah. And I still think it is in the U.S.
Yeah,
it's died down, but, like, you know, there was back in the U.S. So, like, to give a little bit of context, like, America is all about rights, like civil rights.
Yeah.
Right. And the reason why there was so much pushback is people thought if you force a mask mandate, you're infringing on my rights as an American.
Yeah.
Like, the government is not allowed to decide that what I do with my body.
We have to kind of take this back a little bit and kind of go into the background of what made America America, because the whole founding of America was basically, you know, the British
just
are oppressing
sticking
us.
It to the British.
Yeah, the government is oppressing us. And I remember there was the original flag of the colonies was a coiled up snake that said, "Don't tread on me."
Yeah,
because, like, you can't get me. And so and even the Bill of Rights and the Constitution was made so that government would not infringe upon the rights of the people.
Yeah.
So America's, I would say, more conservative, traditional Americans are very sensitive with government intrusion in their life.
Yes. Yeah. And it's kind of like the whole founding of, you know, the different political parties in the US between Democrats and Republicans. There's like Republicans are very anti-big government and Democrats are kind of more leaning towards big government.
Right.
Right. But anyways, so masks became this whole thing of like people were saying they're impeding on their rights as an American.
Yeah.
And, you know, the other people were kind of saying the opposite. And it got to points where you weren't allowed inside businesses without a mask on.
Yeah.
You know, there's countless videos on YouTube of, you know, people getting kicked out of Walmart, for example. For not wearing a mask.
Yeah, but then people would use that as like a form of protest. Like, guys, look, Walmart is pro-establishment. They're kicking me out because I'm not wearing a mask.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, and so like there's all this huge tension around masks where it's really almost kind of satirical.
Satirical.
Satirical. Bouquet.
Bouquet. This is going to be a running joke on this channel, man.
Anyways, I'm an English teacher. I decide what the grammar is.
Satirical.
I decide the spelling.
To be honest, satirical does sound cooler to me than satirical, but yeah, it's a little bit satirical. Okay,
it's a little bit satirical, but yeah. So, during the exact same time, there's all this like, you know, unrest and like back and forth between masks. You come to Japan, nothing.
Everyone's wearing masks.
Everyone's wearing masks. No issues at all.
Yeah.
It was like the government's like, they didn't even really take a hard line on masks. They're just like, hey guys, I mean, if you go out, you should probably wear a mask.
You know, here's
like, that was the extent of like the announcements from the government here.
Yeah, and here, so like so the big thing for me that really showed me kind of made me think really, okay, which country is more free? Because America is land of the free, home of the brave, but they had lockdowns where people were getting arrested for not wearing masks outside.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And in Japan, that they couldn't do that as a government, you know.
Yeah.
But still, everyone followed, you know. But
yeah, it is kind of ironic.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just so funny because like because of how soft of a stance the Japanese government took during that time.
Yeah.
But like everyone's still like, okay,
because it was part of the culture. You know what was funny though? So did you you never went back to the States during like the whole
during
mask
COVID?
time?
No,
Okay.
my first time back was 2 years ago.
Okay, so I went back in the midst of COVID, dude. Coming back from Japan because they were really, really strict about people coming back. We were not allowed to leave our seats for the whole plane ride going from America.
That would be hell.
It was hell for me.
How do you go to the bathroom?
You could go to the bathroom, but you can't like move seats. Even if the plane is empty, you had to stay in your seat, you know? That was really bad for me, and you know, we had a small baby at that time.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when I went to the States, because in the States there's no culture of wearing these masks. So you would have people like take a piece of thin cloth and just like wrap it around their face and go to Walmart like, I'm wearing a mask that's very permeable.
Or the one that South Park always commented on, the diaper chins. Have you seen the South Park episode?
No.
So basically, like something you always saw like in videos of America at that time, where people wearing masks, but like they were pulled under just like right there.
Dude,
and
that was how we first met.
Yeah. Oh my God. Let me tell you about this asshole. When I met him for the first time, so being me, the typical American, I had my diaper chin going on.
Yeah. So which means that your mask was not covering your nose and hardly your mouth. It was more on your chin.
Hey guys, if you've watched this far, you're going to love our Austin and Arthur friends.
In the Austin and Arthur friends, you're going to really improve your English listening. And I mean a lot.
Yeah. So for each episode, you'll get English and Japanese subtitles, so you can check your listening and comprehension.
You'll also get access to a members-only community where you can talk with us, the both of us. Mainly me, right?
No, definitely not. For more info, click on the link here, or in the description box of this video.
Thanks for being our friend.
Woo!
I have no friends.
And so Arthur at the time was temporarily working at my school, and I remember meeting him for the first time, and I was pretty excited because, like, yeah,
come on, you weren't that excited.
Well, I knew who you were.
Okay.
So I like watched your videos, and I was aware of who you are, and so I was like, oh man, this will be cool to meet this guy.
Oh man, that makes it even worse.
You know, so I was at my desk and I was walking in the teacher's office, and one of the teachers was talking with Arthur at the time, and I was like, oh, Austin, hey, you should come meet Arthur. And so, like, I walked over there.
I just want to share my side of the story. But yeah, I'll let you have the punchline, okay? So I was walking into the school, and I had already spoken with Mr. T.
Yeah.
I think you know who I'm talking about if I say Mr. T. And
I've been in a fool.
We'll go with that guy, Mr. T. Gold chains. He didn't have gold chains, but he had a very prominent pin. But anyways, he tried really hard to assert his dominance over me.
Yeah.
And like saying, hey, you know, I kind of choose the rules here. You know, I'm kind of like the big guy here. You're going to kind of follow me. I'm not officially your superior, but you're going to listen to me. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't having any of that. Because here's the thing. I don't like working in these kind of group environments because someone is always trying to be on the top and trying to dominate everyone. I don't like that. So I thought, oh crap, if that's how it's going to be, I'm going to find my way to the top as soon as possible. I was in that mode when I met you.
So here's me. Here's where I'm coming from. I had a lazy day because all the classes were canceled, and I was just getting back from lunch. So I was feeling really comfortable. And then all of a sudden I get called over to talk to this guy. It's like, oh yeah, look, that's Arthur from the IU-Connect guy. All right, cool. Let's go see him. And we meet. And the very first thing, we locked eye contact, and you looked over and it's like, hey man, can you pull your mask up?
I said, yeah, you need to pull your mask over your nose.
Yeah. I was just like, who the fuck is this guy?
So here's, okay, yeah, because I was like, oh crap, is this, because you're taller than me, first of all, okay? So I'm like, okay, is this guy going to try to pull the same crap that Mr. T was pulling on me? I need to make sure I need to set the tone of this relationship.
Dude, you're going by prison rules. It's like, no, I'm not going to get raped. I'm going to do the raping first.
Dude, I'm telling you though, in group dynamics like that, especially with like men, it always gets annoying like that. But I just remember I was like, hey man, put your mask up.
Yeah, so like for the first day, I was like, this guy's just a jerk, man. This guy sucks.
Yeah, and then we went to lunch one of those times, and we ended up being friends.
Yeah. We ended up being friends after that. But going back to like the whole diaper chin thing, right? A lot of Americans wore that, and it was kind of this ridiculous thing because it's like on one hand you have this mask mandate.
Yeah.
In many places where you would get kicked out of places for not having a mask. Yeah. But it was also acceptable to have the diaper chin, and it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah, there's no point in that.
What are we doing here?
Or there was this picture of like a school band or something, school orchestra, and the people that were playing the flute, they had like holes cut out of their masks.
No,
they could it is a real photo, man.
Oh my God, man.
So they were wearing masks, but there was a hole cut out so that they could like play the flute while they had the mask on.
Yeah. That reminds me of there was a video I saw of I think it was this woman politician. I don't know who she was, but she had a mask on and she got pulled aside by a reporter to like comment on something. And I just remember, like, when it was her turn to speak, she just grabbed her mask like this and talked.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
what are you doing? Yeah. So long story short, too long didn't read, TLDR.
Yeah.
Americans don't know how to wear masks. It's not part of our culture.
Yeah.
But so why do you think it is that American people feel so weird when they see Japanese people wearing masks?
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because other than the fact that like we just view sicknesses differently than Japanese people, I don't think this is unique to American culture. I'm gonna go ahead and say this is unique to Western culture in general. Facial expressions and seeing someone's face during a conversation is extremely important in Western culture.
Yeah.
So something like during conversations, something that's very different between Western conversations and Japanese conversations is it's considered rude in Western culture to not look somebody in the eye when you're talking to them. Right. And when I say look at them in the eye, obviously, like, we're making eye contact, but that includes your face.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Like a lot of Americans, when they're looking at someone in the eye, what they're really doing is they're looking at their eyes, maybe their eyebrows, their nose.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And it's like you're just kind of reading someone's face as a whole.
Yeah.
To kind of, like, gauge their opinions on stuff, and, to see how they're reacting to things, and to share connections on things, right?
Yeah.
Whereas, like, in Japanese culture, it's like people still make eye contact, but, like, it's also very common for people to, like, talk indirectly to each other, like, kind of, like, look away and have a conversation. Like, I'll tell you where you really see this is in TV shows.
Yeah.
And obviously people are kind of hamming it up on TV shows to be more dramatic.
What does that mean, hamming it up? I've heard this phrase a couple times. I don't know what it means.
It means, like, being cheesy or kind of, like, overly dramatic.
Overly dramatic. Okay, ham it up.
Yeah. Really? You don't know what that means?
I mean, so I've heard it before, and I could kind of guess from it. But, okay, just to tell you, so when I first moved to the States, around the time when I was 10 years old, I remember my mom used the word corny for the first time that I remember. Oh, that's so corny. And I was asking everybody around me, what does corny mean? And no one could explain it to me. I was thinking about it for like a year, and then I finally got it.
Yeah. Yeah, like, there's it comes from the term, like, calling someone a ham.
Yeah, he's a ham.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas it's like he's kind of like a not really a pig, but like a comedian, or like a not serious person.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Anyways, they ham it up on TV, but
but, like, I'll tell you where I really noticed this recently. It's not unique to the show, but I was watching Shogun, and a lot of the women, when they're talking to, like, their husbands, or, like, talking in, like, kind of like a serious situation, the woman will be like, yes, well,
look away.
Let me tell you about, all the betrayals that you should make, and they're just, like, kind of, like, talking this way, even though their husband's, like, right there, right?
Yeah.
And it's, men do this too. Like, when like a guy's talking to his boss here, like, he'll look down.
Yeah.
So people are already used to not really looking at someone's face in Japanese culture when they're talking with somebody. So I feel like that's not the reason why Japanese people are more comfortable with masks, but I definitely think that influences why they're more comfortable than Americans.
Yeah, I've it's funny because when we had dinner, we were talking about how college wasn't that useful.
Yeah.
But there's this one lesson from one of these classes in college that I use all the time, and I think I've even talked about it here, but I took a nonverbal communication class.
Okay.
And the guy was saying that for Japanese people, the locus of emotion where people express emotions is in the eyes.
Okay.
That's why the emojis, like, it's always a straight line for the mouth, but the eyes are, like, very expressive, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whereas in the West, the locus of emotion is in the mouth.
Yeah.
And so that's why our emojis are just two dots with, like, a smile face, parentheses.
Yeah.
And so when you cover someone's face, when you cover someone's mouth in Japan, you still have their eyes, you can see their emotions, but in the States, when you cover their mouth, it's like you're covering their emotions and you can't read them anymore.
It's so interesting that you brought that up, because I was just listening to somebody talking about they were talking about culture norms in Japan and how wearing sunglasses is kind of, it's not necessarily frowned upon, but at the same time, it's kind of like it's kind of cringy in Japanese culture. Like it's like, okay, what are you just trying to be cool? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember one time, I went to a business meeting. This is way back in 2016. I went to a business meeting at a school, and the Rijicho of the school, basically, it was supposed to be a meeting where I was going to present this program I was going to do for the school.
Yeah.
But he ended up just talking for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And after a while, he asked a question to everyone in the room, and no one answered. And I was thinking, what the heck? You just asked everyone a question. no one's giving a response. But what I noticed was that they were communicating with their eyes, whether they agreed or they disagreed.
Yeah.
And like sending that information. Whereas in the States, it'd be like, come on, you're not saying anything. You know?
Like, guys, come on. I asked you a question. Friggin' respond.
Yeah, but people communicate this way. So that's why it makes more sense.
Yeah.
Don't cover your eyes with sunglasses. You know? But yeah, so whenever that nugget of information, by the way, I got it from a nonverbal communication class.
Yeah.
And I hope he's not watching. I hope he never watches, but he was the most awkward, like non-communicative teacher I've ever met in my life. But I got this nugget from his class.
Arthur, you just didn't understand the sign language of nonverbal communication was given off. It was in Japanese.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So
I don't speak Japanese sign language.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Oh man. So was there anything else that you want to share on this?
I think this is a good spot to end it on.
Yeah, we have a live soon anyway, so.
We do.
Yeah, I'll see you next time.
See you, man.
今回の動画では生きた英語をたくさん学べたと思います。そして実は誰でもあなたも英語を使ってこういう会話できるようになります。ただ多くの人がやっている英語のフレーズや文法をたくさん覚える勉強法ではいきなり外国人を目の前にして話す機会が来たら頭が真っ白になって言葉が出てこないという壁にぶつかってしまいますね。で、実は僕自身も日本語を4年間勉強したのに実際に日本に来たら全く話せなくてショック受けた経験があります。でもその経験を通して言語学習で最も大切なことは実際に話す感覚を身につけることなんだと気づきました。そして一度英語を話す感覚を身につけると旅先で一歩踏み込んだ経験ができたり外国人の友達を作れたりなど世界がどんどん広がっていきます。僕や生徒さんの体験談や IU-Connect の理念についてはホームページで公開しているので、ぜひ概要欄のリンクからチェックしてみてください。英語を話す感覚を身につける方法をまとめた PDF 資料もこちらから受け取りいただきますので、よろしくお願いします。As always, enjoy your English adventures and これからも一緒に世界とつながりましょう。See you next time!